in communication and any agreements between our organization and the GEZA and his team. You can also respond on that second question.
Thank you, Chair. Before I touch on that one, I simply need also to polish or clarify what CNO Mugari has already said. What concerns us as National Democratic Working Group and the people of Zimbabwe are utterances and actions of public government officials, starting with Emerson Mnangagwa as the person who occupies the post of president in this country. So the utterances by fellow MPs and ministers, cabinet ministers, and the government officials throughout is what this nation is talking about. The quarreling that may take place in the ZANU-PF political camp as a separate legal entity, separate from the government structure, is none of our business. I'm sure in the nation it's none of their business, because ZANU-PF is a separate legal entity from government of Zimbabwe. It is the implications of the utterances and the actions by public officials that worries Zimbabweans. And that is the clarification I needed to add to what Engineer Mugari has said. On to the second question, relating to the what is commonly known now as the GEZA revolution. As National Democratic Working Group, we are a broad-based, inclusive, national consultative movement. And this was clearly spelled out when we were launched on the 8th of February in 2024, that an idea got introduced through the agency of Advocate Job Sikhala, that an organization needed to be established to ask Zimbabweans about their lives, about their issues, about their grievances, so that the whole nation should gather at a People's National Convention, Dar Ravano, Imbizo, where national issues will be tabled, debated, discussed, and resolutions passed. That is the objective or vision and objective of the National Democratic Working Group. It means, therefore, we are all embracing, and by the way, we have a department called the War Veterans Department in the National Democratic Working Group. When you look at the constituent bodies or institutions that are part of our movement, it doesn't leave any Zimbabwean out of reach. Therefore, from our constitution as National Democratic Working Group, we are all embracing and we are all inclusive. Let me move closer to perhaps what you had in mind when you say, are we exchanging notes? Here now, we are exchanging notes with the citizens who took part in the armed liberation struggle to bring about independence and democracy in our land. As expressed by the war veterans led by Lageza and Lanox Chiwero, it is clear that the journey to establish democracy in Zimbabwe still continues 45 years after the 1980 independence declaration. So that was a verbal declaration, And the implementation of that declaration is still on course. It's actually intensifying. This is why the progressive war veterans, represented by Wageza and Vachuero, as you may have seen from the media, they were not only two, there were many, representing progressive liberation fighters from both the Zipra and the Zanla armies during the liberation struggle. So, through this presser, we have conveyed huge messages of solidarity to the progressive war veterans. We have now become what I may call constructive allies. This is what is happening, because we are debating about the governance of our country. You find that we resonate now with whatever we're saying now. Will resonate with the good ideas, the good thinking, the good reason why this country went to war for democratic governance. The whole idea of civilian government based on one citizen, one vote, in a secret ballot decision making, in appointing a community leadership, what you call a government, central government and local governments. These institutions require input of every citizen, who should have complete freedom to decide on who to put in public office at both national and local government levels. And this is why the whole nation went to war with the colonial regimes that were based on skin color and based on minority interests. I had to be more elaborate there, Moyo, because we needed to be very clear on that. So we have a constructive alliance, therefore. Don't forget that on 15 January 2025, the National Democratic Working Group, representing Zimbabweans in this country, expressed the ideas that this is not the intention of Zimbabweans to fold their hands when there is someone or some group planning to impose a dynastic personal rule in Zimbabwe. The third question, program of action. I think from my elaborate answer to the second question, it is very clear that already there is a program of action ensuing and in place. But the National Democratic Working Group, on its part, is that we are embarked on a program to consult citizens of this country, marching towards the holding of a Democratic People's Convention, Dareravano Imbizo. And that is our objective as a movement. And what we are seeing now currently are happenings that affect the structure of government, which is part of the national activities of our country. But the National Democratic Working Group will remain on course. Whatever changes will take place within the government structure, which may involve the changing of the occupant of the office of the president, we will not be diverted by that or those changes. We will remain on course while other things are happening which may be positive in the country. As an action plan, we remain with that action plan as a movement. And the other developments will enrich, our consultative process. Remember, as a consultative movement, we are already assembling data of what is happening in the country in various institutions, including institutions of government. And what the Geza revolution is doing is to add value to our research as we move towards the People's Democratic Convention, Dariravanyu Imbizo. Thank you.
Thank you for such